exciting to have such an amazing audience like you. Thank you so much all for coming and supporting our film, and it's just fabulous. And I'm sure my whole team will agree, so I'm going to get them up on stage. Beautiful Veronica, Cloherty. Great writer-director Ronnie S. Riskalla. And Rahel Romahn. So guys, we're just going to have a little bit of a chin wag for 10 or 15 minutes, and then we're going to pass over to the audience if anyone has
15 minutes? I thought it was 3 hours.
No. Wishful thinking. But so we created this film 7 years ago. The process started, and it's taken all this time, but as you can see, worth the wait. Ronnie and I, Andrew and Nenef, was working on a few other projects, and we realized, they're a little bit too big for us to pull off straight away, and we need to do something else. And we were thinking, what are we going to make? And Ronnie always wanted to tell his life story. So it sounded pretty good, and I'm like, yes, fantastic, that story needs to be told. It's got a great message, anti-racism, anti-drugs, and the rest is history. So Ronnie, can you tell everyone else, because we know, but they don't know, why did you come up with this story? Tell us about your life, and what's the motivation behind making this film?
Well, firstly, I've always been a storyteller. So as a kid, I've always wanted to tell stories. So what's better than actually telling a story that you experience yourself? So the film is loosely based on a lot of experiences that I went through, and if it didn't happen to me, it happened to a lot of people that I grew up with. Growing up in the 80s as a kid, and basically growing up as a teenager in the 90s, I suffered a lot of racism. I was bullied a lot, and kids used to bash me for the colour of my skin, and they used to spit on me and all sorts of stuff. So I just always wanted to sort of tell a story about that. But it wasn't really until my early 30s when I had a visceral sort of encounter with a kid that was 13 years old, and I was being racially abused by this kid. And I just thought, I've got to put pen to paper and basically tell a story about racism, because at the core, that's, I think, something that needed to be discussed.
Fantastic. So there you have it. I think a lot of people agree. And so what are you hoping that people will take away from this film?
I'm hoping people take away, I want people to embrace their culture. It doesn't matter what culture you come from. I want you to be able to embrace what it is. We growing up in Western Sydney, we always felt like we had to assimilate to be Australian. That's why Tez in the story has to change the colour of his hair, and he puts contacts, blue eyes, and we want to always assimilate, but we weren't even never included in being an Aussie. So even though we were born in Australia, we were always told that we weren't. We were called all these really horrible things, and so I wanted to be able to tell a story where you can actually embrace your culture, whatever your language is, whatever your skin color is, and basically just take away from that and just embrace your culture and be who you are. And we're living in a time now where self-identity is a huge thing, and that's what we had when we were growing up. We didn't know who we were. We wanted to be like everyone else. We wanted to be Aussie, but we weren't included in that sort of circle. So I want everyone to be able to embrace their culture. It doesn't matter who you are, and it doesn't matter where you come from and what low socioeconomic area that you grow up in, that you can actually conquer adversities, and you actually, whatever challenges that come upon you, you can actually get through it, and like Tez does in the story, basically get through all the adversities that he goes through, and basically succeeds. And hope is what I want you to take away from this film.
That's great. What I love about working on this film as well was it's got the messages, but it's also very entertaining, which I hope you all agree. But yeah, it's got that really Hollywood entertainment value as well. Now, Rahel, you had a similar background to Ronnie, being multicultural, from Kurdistan. What are you hoping people will take away from the film?
Well, with every movie, first thing you hope is that it entertains the crowd, because you don't want to do something that, obviously you want to tell an important message, but it can't just be that. It has to be somewhat entertaining and enjoyable experience. That was, yeah.
So we did that, right?
Thank you. I'll give you that $20 later. But the second thing, having grown up multicultural, yeah, I absolutely experienced my fair share of racism, but there was a pinnacle point for me where I had to disassociate between the soul inside the vehicle, which is the physical vessel. And I thought, the soul has to understand that it's like if I'm driving a car and it's a piece of shit, you know? And people are like, oh, you're driving a piece of shit. It's the same thing. I adapted that mentality into my own existence, is that my soul and this physical vessel are two separate things. And in order to alleviate the effects of the slurs and the intense emotions being hurled at me, that was the only way to understand and to, overcome. But yeah, what I hope to achieve with this film is firstly an entertaining film that has like a deep message, which even if it's very minor to major for certain people in the crowd based on where they are in their particular time in their life, take away something from it and have a good time while they do it.
Fantastic. Now, do you find that there was any similarities, or any similarities between you and the character, and how did you prepare for your role?
Look, it's very similar for me. I was born in Kurdistan, North Iraq, and we escaped the genocide, came here as refugees, and it wasn't. Look, with every character, it's a different set of obstacles that come in your way to try and give your best performance. And with this, it wasn't more that I identified myself within the character majorly, but it was more the intensity of the circumstances being, the death of a good friend, the loss of an important romantic figure, the inability to meet one's child, offspring. There were a lot of circumstances that I didn't understand, like through my own experience, but was able to imaginatively experience it through this character. So as much as the character was similar to me, I got to live in a circumstance which was foreign to me, and that was really exciting. You're too kind.
You guys are not going to believe this, but Veronica, this beautiful girl here, this is actually her first feature. And Veronica, you did so well. I'm so proud of you, girl. And how did you feel when you got the role? What process did you go through to get the role? And what was your journey to get to where you are now?
Ronnie and I argue about this. We have two different ideas about what took place. So for me, I originally applied for the role and wasn't considered.
No, that's not true.
No.
You were too busy.
You told me that!
No.
You told me
What
that.
actually happened was you were in Miss Universe, is that right? And she was too busy to basically audition for me. Right? That's what it was.
It was, okay, there might have been a bit of that, but originally I applied for the role
You did
but
apply,
wasn't
yeah.
considered. Because you didn't like my headshot. And no,
I think
Get good
your
headshots.
audition was actually incomplete. I needed more.
I didn't perform an audition, I just submitted my headshot and
But
I wasn't
needed,
considered.
but
And
I needed
then
a self-check.
Elliot put me
Okay,
forward.
let's get Veronica's version, since this is her question.
Thank you, Ronnie. And then Elliot put me forward, and then you were harassing me for audition.
Elliot, who played Kyle in the film, wonderful performance by Elliot. Elliot Joel.
And then I did, what was it, like 4 or 5 auditions?
No, I don't think that many. Maybe
Oh
2.
my God.
Hold on, let me put an end to this boxing match.
No one remembers.
I saw
So long
Veronica's
ago.
tape. Veronica's tape was just immaculate. It was fantastic. They threw her in the scene. It was that initial opening scene where she meets Tez, and I don't think the mark of a wonderful actor, I think, is to be able to pull off the scene. Doesn't matter who they're doing it with, what circumstance, and she just absolutely blew it away. So sorry to interrupt. I've spoken enough, but please, yes.
She obviously nailed it.
Indeed.
Yeah, and so you nailed it. So you got
Yeah, that.
Now your character, I mean, she's sick, she's got a drug dealer boyfriend, she's dealing with all these drive-by shootings in her life, it's just chaotic.
Yeah.
Pretty intense. How did you prepare for that, and how did you separate yourself from that emotion of the character?
Yeah, I think it's really important when you're playing any character in anything, to prepare, because depending on what your role is, it can be very challenging what you've got to go into, and if you dive too far into it, it can end badly. So yeah, my
the idea that like delving deeply into a performance
exactly.
can have
just
ramifications.
Have bad effects on your mental health and what have you. So it's really important to just make sure you do all the preparation. I actually had a hairdresser in Miss Universe who herself had been through chemo, and she herself had obviously suffered cancer, and so I asked her if she would be willing to sit down with me and have a coffee and discuss like what she'd been through. And that was actually probably the most informative thing I could do, because you can sit there and Google as much as you like, but listening to someone tell you exactly what they've been through is a whole different situation. So that was probably the highlight in my research, and just understanding about what my character was going through. And actually, I was very surprised to understand that a lot of people who go through brain cancer don't actually have any symptoms for a very long time. They don't know what's going on, and it kind of hits them right at the end, and they've got, a month to live. So she was very pivotal in my understanding of what she was going through, and that was really. It was actually just, as a person, a really amazing thing to sit down with someone and go through. So yeah, I'm actually very grateful to have been able to do that with her.
Wonderful. Now, Ronnie, I've heard a lot of comments from your cast over the times, how they work with you, and how they enjoy working with you, and how they're able to bring the ideas to you. Can you tell us, how do you work with your actors? How do you prepare, and what's your process, and how do you feel about what's on page that needs to come on screen?
2 words, a whip.
There was like 4 questions. I spent a year, as you know, casting this film. So basically, spending a lot of time casting is probably 80% of your film, making sure that you have the right actors in the right characters, and pretty much the actors do the rest of the work. So pretty much I didn't have to do much apart from basically doing a lot of workshops and a lot of screen tests and a lot of workshopping. Basically, we were able to figure out how to, to figure out these characters, and the process of workshopping, we figured out pretty much everything. And on set, on the day, we pretty much would go through the scene, we'd rehearse, and we'd make sure that we knew exactly what the characters were doing in that scene. And if we needed to change anything up, we'd change everything up on the second. And basically, that's what we did.
Amazing.
Did I answer your question?
You did. Answer my 4 questions.
I think I answered one of them.
A+.
A+, yes. So Rahel, obviously you're a super talented actor, everyone knows. Yeah? And we are very lucky to have you in the lead of our film, of course. And I want to know, how did your journey as an actor start?
Well, first of all, I'm such a good actor that I made you think I'm a good actor. That's,
very smart.
Mission accomplished. How did my journey start? God, I was like an oddball kid who'd do accents in his room all day long, pretend I was English, Irish, Texan, American. I just loved exploring the different possibilities, because I just think there's like hundreds of dimensions out there, and it's very possible that I would have existed in any of those dimensions, be it 1700s Vienna to, the future of America, So I like to explore that. And from there, actually, I met Ronnie when I was 13 in my first ever film course. It was a thing I heard on the radio, and I was like, oh, acting, yeah, that's what I want to do. And then I met Ronnie there at the age of 13, and he was such a wonderful, warm human being, and he was totally the older brother figure to me during that experience. And for someone like me, slightly bullied, didn't think much of myself, I needed a figure like that in life to give me, to open the door up for me to be able to do something like this. So that's kind of my journey into it, and Ronnie was definitely a massive part of that. And I feel very privileged, and I'm very appreciative for everyone here to come out and watch this film. And very privileged to be able to tell Ronnie's story, and he worked so hard, as did you, Yolandi. You absolutely smashed it with Ronnie and everyone else. And yeah, please. He pretty much funded the film. Dr. Raj, wherever you are, my man, Dr. Raj. Yeah. Chalo bhai. Woo! Just a wonderful team of people coming together and wanting to tell something important and giving me the privilege of being able to be at the helm of that. Yeah.
I love that story, and I love how Streets of Colour brought this journey of you guys together into this little project. Veronica, what from this film, your experience as an actress, what would you say was your proudest moment?
I don't know, I think probably I felt for a lot of the film like a mouse amongst giants, obviously because it was my first feature, and I recognized everybody who walked on set, so I was like, oh my god, like every 5 minutes I was like, oh fuck. Just be cool. Nothing to see here. So yeah, I think probably everyone was so supportive and amazing, and I'm very grateful to have been able to work with everyone that it was there. So yeah, just kind of holding my own and just having the confidence to like give it a good shot.
We became like a real couple. We were fighting and arguing, and it was awesome. You know, it was just to make it really real, right? I mean,
yeah.
No,
she doesn't think so.
We have a lot of domestics here.
That's right.
So, but you guys don't want to just hear all my questions. I think it's going to be more interesting if we get to your questions. So, Dov, he's the man who's going to send the mic around. Is there anyone, just raise your hand, that has any questions?
If anyone's asking how much I got paid, it was $100 million. It's just something small. You know.
100 million hugs.
That's Christopher Nolan did that.
So, any questions from the audience?
As in camera, RE Alexa XT Studio and a red, I want to say epic, but it could be a dragon. Sorry, Anton, what was it? Helium. 8K.
Any other questions? We need 10 extra minutes.
I was getting a workout. Thank you.
Yeah, we need 10 extra minutes for the Q&A just for walking.
Well done, guys. Congratulations. The film's called Streets of Colour, and I really enjoyed all the scenes actually set out in the streets. It was really authentic and just really reminded me, so Australian, really reminded me of sort of growing up in Campbelltown. So I just... So I just wanted to know, how you approached that, Ronnie, and some of the challenges and of shooting out in those locations and how you really captured them so authentically, because that's really the heart of the film.
Well, basically, Jonathan, we shot in all authentic locations. Everywhere you saw on screen, I pretty much grew up in. So it wasn't very hard to choose those locations at all. So it pretty much is authentic. All the characters that you see in the film, pretty much people I replicated or amalgamated from a couple of different people that I knew that I grew up with. So does that answer your question? Yeah? Well, Campbelltown is pretty much like Mount Druitt. It's like Liverpool and sort of like the western suburbs. So, yeah.
So yeah, please don't sue him for plagiarizing your story.
Anyone else?
Hey Ronnie, it's Gil here.
Hi Gil.
Nice to meet you for the first time. Firstly, congratulations to all the cast and crew, because we all know, well, for people who don't know, it's very hard to get a movie up and running and completed, and kudos to all of you and to the cast.
Thank you so much.
I really appreciate how hard it is. Now Ronnie, I just did want to ask you something. You did mention that a lot of the experiences in this movie were from your own personal experiences, right? So I just wanted to know, and I'm just curious, the other cast members, they would have probably experienced racism themselves. Were there any of their experiences, did you also incorporate it into the movie as well, or was it just based on yourself?
No, pretty much it's loosely based on my experiences. I mean, Rahel himself, as he spoke to earlier, has had similar experiences to myself, even though he's about 15 years my junior. But no, none of the other cast have experienced anything like that. We did take creative liberty in actually creating things that didn't really happen, but I mean, in terms of what happens in Western Sydney, that a lot of that stuff is authentic. So we've just basically taken creative license to make that more a little bit appealing, as Rahel was also saying too. We're making it entertaining as well.
What he wanted to know is, were you really a drug dealer?
And can we get on?
Thanks for the clarification. That's exactly what I was getting at, Yolandi.
My family's here, my in-laws, so I
And
can't
if
answer
so,
that.
where can I get some?
Ask Rahel after the screening.
Ronnie, my twin brother would like to ask you something, if he may, with your
No
permission,
worries.
Dov. Hey Ronnie, how you doing? Congratulations again to everyone.
Thank you so much.
Really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was just a absolutely wonderful show, and I think it's going to really do unbelievable, like in the theatres. I'm sure Dov's going to look after that. I got a question for you. Gil and I, we actually grew up in Woolloomooloo, and we were the
Just next door to Mount Druitt.
yeah, just literally. But you know, I guess we were the only Jewish family in that growing up in the 80s there, and we experienced a lot of, I guess, what we saw. The weird thing is, years later, the people that actually gave us or were racist to us, we actually became good friends, and they sort of saw how stupid they were and naive and you know, all these sort of things. They sort of change over time. Is that something that happened to you? Did you? Like all these people, obviously they did some terrible things to us, which I'm sure they did to you, as you mentioned, spitting, all that. Did that happen to you, or was it just...
Look, as I said earlier, in the 80s and 90s, it was pretty much really brutal what I went through, a lot of bullying. But it wasn't until my 30s that's when I thought, you know what, maybe the racism that I encountered as a kid was maybe exaggerated because I was a kid. And maybe during my teenage years, maybe that was adolescence and that was like raging hormones and that sort of thing, right? But it wasn't until my 30s I thought, you know what, things are progressing. I've put that behind me. Racism doesn't really exist anymore. But it wasn't until that very moment that this young kid was racially abusing me that I thought I have to put pen to paper, because as much as I do believe racism has progressed, and anti-racism anyway, racism has gotten better in that sense. But I do feel like we still need to talk about it, and that this film was made to educate and inspire, I guess.
Ronnie, the funniest thing is that Gil and I experienced was the people who were being racist to us and calling us wogs were actually wogs themselves. So they used to go up to us and go, "Hey Mario, I don't know how many Jewish people you've met that are called Mario, from someone called Pierre." Anyway, that's how stupid they are.
And I totally get what you're saying. So if you notice in the film, the racism wasn't just black and white racism, it was intercultural racism. So the racism was coming from wogs to Indians or whatever it was. It wasn't supposed to be black and white racism, it was intercultural racism, because you'll find that lots of different cultures are racist against other cultures, and that's what I wanted to say as well.
That's true. Thank you very much. And one thing I found that racist people, they're racist against everyone equally.
Exactly.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say something on that point as well. You said that the people that used to be racist are now not anymore, and they're friends of you now. And that's what I personally want the film to get out there, is have people think just for themselves. What's my contribution to making a difference? Am I being racist? Just doing some internal reflection. So that's what I would love to get out of the film. Okay, only one more question. Lucky last.
Awesome job, guys. So I've actually got two questions. They're going to be super quick. The first one is, how long was the shoot? And the second one, maybe this is a question for Dove, but what's the plan of attack for distribution, and where to from here?
Shooting was only about 30 days, and that was spread out over about 2 months. Cool. But the whole project took about 7 years.
Yeah, totally. And where to now, guys?
Come here, Dove.
You take a microphone, buddy.
So
We'd all love to
tomorrow,
know.
the day after tomorrow, we'll be announcing a series of single screenings around Australia. Some eventised, some not. So I think Ronnie's very proudly going to travel with the film, as well as Yolandi. And I guess we don't want to kind of compete against blockbusters, but you know, like a screening like today, like I think has done better than if this film was released on 3 sessions a day for 1 week, you know, like just by galvanising people. So that's the plan. We don't want to compete against blockbusters. We just want to kind of find our audience and drive them to screenings, and then it'll be coming out on like transactional VOD, so iTunes and Google Play and whatever in October. So the idea being, again, it's a brave new world out there in the world of cinemas and stuff and film releasing. So, you know, you used to have 90 days between releasing in cinemas, but now it's all melding. So the idea is to build momentum through cinema release and, you know, spot screenings and then release on VOD. So just, yeah, like just, so, you know, you can say, because it's listed on Rotten Tomatoes, it's on IMDb, rate it. You know, just give it, if you like it, rate it positively, and, you know, like, I guess people will hear about it and then they'll refer to those kind of platforms. But yeah, just kind of, yeah, say nice things about it. So thank you.
Great question, Andrew.
Guys, I just want to give a round of applause to Yolandi Franken, the amazing producer of this film. And Ronnie Riskalla, the writer-director. And now I want us to thank you for coming out tonight and showing us so much support. So thank you so much.
Great, so just a few things I wanted to end on is what should I do, the asks or the thank yous? I'll do the thank yous first. So like Rahel said, thank you to all of you, we've done that. Wanted to say thank you to Dr. Raj and his family, our wonderful Godfather EP.
Godfather, Dr. Raj.
Godfather of Streets of Colour.
Sitting there in the best seat in the house. Thank you, Dr. Raj, for making this film possible.
Oh, there he is in the middle there. Woo! Dr.
Yeah.
Raj. Yeah, there he is. Stand up, Dr. Raj. Come on. Yeah, Dr. Raj. Woo! Without whom this would not have been possible.
Yes, and then also all of our cast and crew. I'm not going to bother listing everyone because we'll be sitting here all night, but all of our cast and crew all contributed to bringing this to life, and from the bottom of all of our hearts, thank you. Then to Dov, I want to say thank you for making it possible for us to be in the Orpheum.
He's a mensch. He's a mensch.
Yes, he heard our dreams and he made it happen.
Yeah.
And for all the other things you're going to do for us. Also, thank you to the Orpheum, Oliver, Sam, and Rachel. Wonderful venue. This could just not have been a better place for our film. And then our team tonight, our video team, Evie, Susanna, Adrienne, and also Nadine, for your help in getting the red carpet all sorted. I'm so sorry for everyone not getting a chance on the red carpet and the media wall. Yes, I know, and everyone else we didn't get to say hello to. I'm so sorry. We didn't expect it to be so amazing and busy tonight.
We were expecting tumbleweeds, and all you appeared, so thank you.
Yeah, so thank you everyone. And then what can you do to help? Like Andrew said, please rate us on Rotten Tomatoes, on IMDb, wherever you can. Be honest. If you liked it, say it. If you didn't like it, say it. I hope you liked it. But be honest. And then just follow our social media. We have a Facebook and an Instagram only. It's not a lot of work to go and follow us. So please do that, and please spread the message. Like Dov said, we've got all of our screenings coming out soon, and we'll just love all of your support. So, thank you for everyone.
Thank you.
Have a great night, and please meet us afterwards at Minty's for some drinks. There's only 120 spots, so first in, first dressed. Yeah, run down. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.
Thanks, everyone.